Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for There Ought to Be a Law, and with me today is someone who thinks there ought to be a law banning this cartoon, is my good friend Blue Genocide. Say hi.
You stole my opening joke.
Yay! So as mentioned, this is There Ought to Be a Law, released on the 6th of June 1953. It had a Blue Ribbon reissue sometime in 62. It's the 681st in the series, and it's directed by Bob McKimson. You can find this masterpiece on the newly released Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 3 Blu-ray set. Definitely get that set because we definitely want more stuff released on disc, especially shorts like this one, which I can't show you here on YouTube. It's a copyrighted short. You'll just get taken down if I try and put it on. In case you haven't seen this one, and perhaps count yourself lucky that you haven't, but it's a spot gag cartoon involving, first of all, the history of automobiles, cars, right up until the modern times of 1952, as this is where the short is set, and we see a whole bunch of gags involving people's use of cars. So, exciting stuff. Really is. Now, a few bits of trivia here. So, first of all, the title, it should be obvious, but I'm going to mention it anyway. It's a reference to the saying, there ought to be a law. So it's like, there ought to be a law for this, or there ought to be a law for that. You would have heard it a lot of times in movies and radio as well at the time too. What's interesting about this short is that it's the first spot gag style short from Warner Brothers in quite a while. The last few were made around World War II or thereabouts. You know, Clampett made a few, Freeling did, even Jones did, and they sort of stopped. So this was Tex Avery's style of short, and he did plenty while he was at Warner's. He then left, and then he did more at MGM, even a similar car one in 1951. So how about that?
Which is a better cartoon.
Yeah, I was waiting for that response. I knew you were going to mention that for sure. But yeah, they just decided to bring it back for some reason. Maybe Pierce and McKimson saw that Avery cartoon about the car, or maybe they saw some spot gags going, you know what, we haven't done this for a while. Let's try a hand at it again. I don't know, but it is what it is, huh? Now, the masked man that you see in the Hot Rod segment, and that appears to be a caricature of animator Ken Harris, and he was animating in the Chuck Jones unit at the time, and it's actually appropriate here because he really was a race car builder and driver in the 20s before he got into animation, and he was a car enthusiast as well, so it makes sense. We see in that wonderful panning shot that we will be discussing very soon, the Pierce Van Company, and that's the nod to writer Ted Pierce. We also see Art's Groceries, so that could be a reference to Art Davis. I don't know, but in any case, that's what we can see there. And what's really interesting is the release of this short being on the 6th of June 53, because on the 16th of June 1953, the studio closed down, and a lot of it's to do with 3D films coming up, and they couldn't afford to compete, or I'm sure there were other reasons too, but that seems to be the reason. But they closed down, but they had this massive backlog of shorts to the point where they kept releasing them. So then 6 months later, in January 54, when they reopened, they just started up again, and it was like there was no gap. It was like continuous. So, Blue, as someone who has not seen this short before, because I'll admit this is also my first time watching this short, aren't you happy that I got you on this one?
So everybody watching this, Anthony messages me. Pretty late, but it's pretty early for him because, you know, I'm in Canada, he's in Australia, time zones are wacky, saying, hey, would you come on and be on There Ought to Be a Law? And I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it. There's a lot of McKimson's 50s work that I've never seen. For me, when I think of McKimson in the 50s, I think of either the Hippity Hoppity cartoons or Wild Wife, which I've seen. That one pops up on Facebook quite a bit. I was like, oh, sure, I'll do it because I haven't been live on one of these in a while. And I watched the cartoon today, and I can see why nobody wanted to be on this one.
And why is that, Blue?
This cartoon, if you showed it to me without the title cards, I would have assumed it was some kind of cheap 70s cartoon without the laugh track. I'm kind of shocked that this came from the McKimson studio, because when I think of Bob McKimson, I think of really well done animation, especially when he was under Bob Clampett.
We're going to go for each and every gag from start to finish, but
yeah.
what I wanted, which I know you're very excited for, you've been jumping up and down with joy over the idea of going through each and every gag here. One thing I did notice when I first saw this, aside from the fact it's not particularly funny, mostly, there are one or two bits that did give me a chuckle, I'll admit, but I have to say this is a bit of a dud. Ted Pierce clearly must have been an off day for him, because sometimes he'll make some excellent stories for cartoon, but then sometimes he'll just do, well, this. But anyway, I noticed that the animation it seemed rather more limited here, and this actually felt more like a UPA cartoon. Now, UPA, of course, did it way better, okay, at least in the early 50s, before one of their main founders had to leave because of the whole communist accusation situation that happened at the time. But I'm wondering if McKimson was watching some of those UPA shorts and wanted to try his hand at it, but it's like he did a UPA short without understanding why those shorts worked visually. Some shots look really nice, I'll admit, but I don't know, it just felt off. It really did.
I'm not going to lie. I think this is like the cartoon that I imagine Leon Schlesinger back in the day saw horrified when he saw the Dover Boys. But the Dover Boys was funny. This cartoon, I would say even saying one or two gags in this cartoon are funny is kind of a stretch, but we'll go through it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can prove you wrong or whatever. We'll have fun with it in any case. So we got a narrator, and narration, according to Keith Scott's wonderful cartoon voices book, is done by John T. Smith, who had done some voices for the Chuck Jones unit for a while. He'll do like one or two more voices more for, I think, Chuck Jones, but then he'll just disappear off the face of the earth, like no one really knows what happened with him. But this is one of his last few roles, and Mel Blake does the other voices, but curiously, Keith Scott didn't write down who does the voice of the woman in that wonderful gag, which we'll no doubt point out. So, yeah, we hear John T. Smith doing narration, which is kind of a different role for him, and in McKimson's unit too. I do like how it starts off with, okay, the livery being replaced by the word garage so quickly, right? But it then makes you wonder, hang on a moment, just because automobiles came around, it wasn't like there was one clean-cut moment like, nah, no one has horse and buggies anymore. Everyone's got cars now. No, it was a gradual thing, and only the rich could afford cars, or automobiles as they were at the time. So, it stuck out for me.
Maybe the person running the library just got a new interest.
Maybe. Who knows? So, the first gag. Okay, so gag number one, and how they mentioned that how cars were built by some people who used to do horse carriages, which makes sense, funnily enough, because there'd be similar skills involved. It was a new technology, more or less. And yeah, we see, of course, horse carriage. So what does the driver do? He whips the car to go up like a horse.
Yeah, see, I've seen this kind of joke a million times in the Tex Avery cartoon, but the difference there is that it's way faster and the punchline's funnier.
And what we don't realize in the beginning is that we're going to get a rule of three with this, and we'll point that out as we go along. But look, I like the idea of it. It's a silly little dad joke, but yeah, it only was a little bit off with the execution of it. But in any case, whatever. We then move on to another dad joke, and I'll be saying dad joke a lot in this one, of course. How, yes, to start the car before a pusher car, needing friends to help push your car, and the gag, you lose more friends that way. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
My reaction to the whole short, ladies and gentlemen.
There we are. Good night, everyone.
Because your friends had to push you to start it. Lose more friends that way.
But what was weird, I don't know if you noticed this, but when that puff of smoke happened, it looked kind of weird. It was like they were trying to cheapen the effect or try something maybe stylized like UBA, but it just didn't work. Did you notice it looked weird?
I wonder if there's some hidden story behind this cartoon, if it was like behind schedule, and we all know the entire animation department was like laid off, fired. I wonder, like, that wouldn't have had anything to do with it, because this was one of the cartoons that was finished before the layoffs.
But I'll have to point out, though, that McKimson's unit actually closed earlier.
Oh.
And this was in 52, so maybe you might be onto something. Maybe because his unit was going to be shut down, maybe they rushed to finish this one? I don't know.
It really feels like it.
Which leads us to now cars have cranks to start cars. I mean, sure, I like the animation of the guy being spun around, but is it funny?
No, because it's slow.
No.
That's a big problem with this cartoon, is that the animation, the timing for everything is just bad. And like I said, this is a joke that you'd see in a Tex Avery cartoon, but way faster and with way more energy. This just feels like a pale imitation.
Yeah, from someone who probably hasn't directed a Spot Gag cartoon in a long, long time. That's the feeling I have here anyway, which is fair enough.
Were equipped with a crank. This sidewinder you cranked on the side.
One thing I do like in terms of the look is I did like that montage of vehicle types and the backgrounds in those. Those look nice as images. I'm trying to be positive in some way here, and that montage looked nice. I'll give him credit for that. When you're crediting a montage as being one of the best things in your shorts, then there's something wrong with your short, isn't there? But anyway. Yeah. The next gag is the traffic jam. Now, Blue, what was wrong with the traffic jam in your eyes?
Now, I don't know if it's just the print that I'm looking at, but I noticed something was really off with this one. The frame rate is just choppy. If you told me that this is like a cartoon from the Warner Brothers, like the Looney Tunes studio from the 50s, like not even the 60s yet, we're not even at the point where all hope for a good cartoon is lost. It's just choppy.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's to do with the file or the short itself. Maybe the way it was ripped from the disc, I don't know. But either way, I did notice there's something off about it anyway. But even the timing of the scene itself, as you pointed out, and I'm seeing this more and more as this short goes along, it's slow. And this whole pan, which is impressive, to do a big pan like that is pretty impressive in itself, but it just takes ages. You see all these things about, okay, why is there a traffic jam? So you see one thing, is this the cause of it? No, there's something else. Why are people playing cards? Don't ask me, because I'm not going to have an answer.
Now, I've seen that kind of thing in traffic jams before. Famously, in a good animated thing, The Castle of Cagliostro, there's a massive traffic jam leading up to the wedding between the Count and the princess, and there are people playing cards on little fold-out tables there too. So I guess watch Castle of Cagliostro and ever watch this, because that is a Miyazaki masterpiece.
What? Better than this cartoon? No, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
It's like Mia who? Mia who? I don't know who this Miyazaki? Who? No, I kid. I love his movies. I'll absolutely adore them. But then we get another quote-unquote punchline at the end where it's like, did Ted Pierce not like women or something? Because the woman just was putting on a lipstick, hence why she's caused this whole traffic jam. Because we all know what, women are stupid and can't drive. Like, what is this trying to tell us? It's ridiculous.
That's actually a good way to describe this cartoon, by the way. Quote-unquote.
Yeah.
Quote-unquote cartoon.
Yes, exactly. I like the delivery of this unknown woman saying that, shut up, like what Mel Blanc would usually do.
I'm not surprised that the director of Wild Wife made a joke like that. I'm not.
Yeah. I think it's more Pierce as the writer. He seems to, in some of his cartoons, have some issues when it comes to women. But anyway, that's
the time. It's the 50s. Like, there's that goofy cartoon that everybody remembers.
Even in the Flintstones, they did a lot of bad women driver gags, and in the Jetsons too, so it'll be a while before they realize that, oh, maybe this isn't funny. I mean, it never was funny, but anyway. We go to the next gag, the Cloverleaf Freeway being confusing, because we've never seen that before. It's an obvious joke, and you also hear in the soundtrack, I'm looking over a four-leaf clover. I mean, what else are they going to play in that scene, right? But I have to put one thing into perspective here for people watching this, if they're watching it on that Collector's Choice set. People have to understand that at this point in time, so when this was made in 1950, recently in a lot of places they were removing trams and trolleys and a lot of public transportation because car was king, cars were a lot more affordable, but to accommodate the extra traffic, it was thought to build all these big freeways, and all that building freeways do is just add more traffic. It's just a perpetual thing, and only now a lot of places are realizing, whoops, we stuffed up, we should have kept our trams and trolleys and public transportation and blah, blah, blah. So we're at this point where freeways were a brand new thing. Watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, by the way, if you want a rough idea on it too. A way better thing than you should be watching than this short. And you can see exactly the context of this short in regards to a lot of its car jokes. I mean, does it make it funnier? No, but that's why a lot of these jokes are what they are. We see the food stand in the middle of a freeway. There's no punchline to this joke, but it is going to be playing to our rule of three.
They picked the worst jokes for rule of three.
I know you're wanting to finish this review as quickly as possible, but it's already longer than most reviews that I normally do, so we got to do that, right? But anyway, all right, another dad joke. Toll bridge, charging only half price. Why are you charging half price? Because the bridge is unfinished. Ha ha, look at those people driving to their deaths. Now, I'll admit I chuckled, but I chuckled more because of how bad it was. I was just laughing and going, what?
Yeah, see, I feel like if this was in a Tex Avery cartoon, you'd have like the toll booth worker looking very smug, counting the money. It'd be a lot faster. There'd be some funny screams or something. Like the score would be like making it funnier or something. But no, because we're watching this cartoon, it's not funny.
Now, the next gag, I'll have to admit, it is relatable. It's not funny, but it's actually relatable with that careful driver at an intersection where there's a lot of country roads where I am, where you've got these major roads, but you've got these side roads where you're expected to turn into traffic that's going at 100 or 110 kilometers an hour. Don't bother asking me to make that into miles. Let's just say really fast, okay, for you Americans. Anyway, so you're basically looking everywhere. Yep, there's no vehicles, but then as soon as you enter, it's like, where the hell did this car come from?
Yeah,
so,
but there was
relatable.
a joke just like this in an MGM Tex Avery cartoon that I've seen, and it's done, again, way better.
I mean, the only credit I can give for that scene is the animation of the impact. Looked kind of good, but yeah. Like, again, I'm trying to be positive too, but yeah. I'm struggling with that.
Ways before proceeding.
Alright, so then we got this, again, slower gag where the car owner is using caution to make sure that the car can go safely in the new garage and not get damaged. Then we see some speed, and he goes through two trees. I don't know, there's something off about that scene too.
Yeah, this is one of the better scenes in my opinion, just because the manager, I guess, the guy in the Hawaiian shirt, it looks like, reminds me of John Candy in one of his early films. I can't think of its name right now, but
yeah,
it just makes me think of John Candy, and things that make you think about John Candy is better than this cartoon, so...
Yeah, so after this, watch a John Candy movie. How's that
way
sound?
better.
You know.
3 feet to spare all around.
So, next gag, we're back on the freeway, and when I saw that, I thought, okay, that's why there was no punchline before. We're going for rule 3 here. And he's still wondering why on earth is there a burger stand in the middle of a freeway. And it's like, okay, how do we get off this freeway? And the gag is how complicated all these freeways are. How do you get on certain points? And if you go in the wrong lane, you could go much further out, and you have to go all the way around just to get back to where you want to go. So, yeah, it's pretty obvious there. And I think for those watching this in LA are like, yeah, what else is new? So it's crazy. All right, so we got the whole hot rod speed trials. So we finally get some speed here, Blue. How about that? And I already mentioned Ken Harris is caricatured, who's seemingly coming out of retirement to race once more, I'm guessing, in this. So the car really is doing well to reach over 100 miles per hour at that point in time, which, okay, sure, it must be some vehicle. Now, the one thing I thought was genuinely funny, because I didn't expect it, is that the horse carriage car is back and is going faster than the race car. I genuinely laughed at that. I liked it because I didn't expect it. I was like, holy crap, okay. And I laughed, and yeah. But something tells me you didn't find that one funny, right?
I don't want to sound like the cynic here. It's just the joke's pretty telegraphed. Like, oh, he's going really fast. So obviously there's got to be something that's going to make him look like he's going really slow, or there's going to be something that... I've seen this gag so many times.
Sure. But I like the fact that it was a horse carriage.
Yeah.
That's probably...
No, this is one of the better ones. I'll say that.
Alright, so the parking lot's the next gag. 50 cents for the first hour. So that's about $6 today, US. So meaning that if you're wondering why car parking is so expensive, well, it's definitely risen to well above inflation. So complain to your local car parking folks and see what happens there. But anyway, putting that aside, oh, and it's valet parking too, by the way. So, yeah, he's leaving the car with the careful valet, and I'm guessing this is an example of cost cutting, because we just see the reaction of this meek driver as we're hearing all this noise that this valet is clearly not taking care of his car. Again, obvious joke. We know that that's going to happen.
One's car in the safe hands of courteous attendants.
But he comes back, he gets charged an extra 50 cents because he's a little bit late. Okay, sure. And then he gets the wrong car. It's like, okay, why didn't this meek man say, oh, this is not my car? I'm sure there was a better gag here somewhere. But he seems to accept it fine, and then the car's really thin anyway because of those tight parking spots. Yeah, sorry, it didn't work. This didn't work at all.
No.
There were other obvious gags here that could have been done. I do like the idea of having the reaction of Mr. Meek Driver sort of shuddering, going, ooh, ooh, at all that noise, because, you know, imagining that destruction is actually a good idea. But again, no real punchline here, so
Nope.
Anyway.
That'll be 50 cents for overtime.
My goodness, I don't see how you ever get these cars in and out of such narrow spaces.
Alright, so we got two similar gags, two cars needing aid. First one is that the battery's dead, mind giving me a push, the car gets stuck, and the interior of this meek driver's car is ripped out, and that's it. I mean, it makes you wonder how many cars this driver's going to buy. I mean, how many cars has he gone through in this whole short, right? Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Thanks a million. So long.
But that wasn't particularly funny. And we get another dad joke. I need some gas to keep on running. Okay. He siphons gas out. Okay. And it turns out that he needed the gas to keep on running. Did you get the chef's kiss to that one? Beautiful. Love it. My eyes rolled so hard that now my eyes look really evil because they're just white eyeballs at the moment.
You can siphon some out of my tank if that'll get your motor started.
Thanks, mister.
And we finally finish off with the rule of three. So we're finally wondering, okay, so the guy's still lost. He asked the guy where he's going to go. And it's like, oh, why are you still here? Oh, because I got stuck here and I did a hamburger stand. And yeah, that's not a great punchline. And then the guy opens a mustard and pickle stand. I don't even know if that's a thing. Let me know in the comments below. Is that a US delicacy of some kind? Mustard and pickles? I don't know. And we get the other rule of three with the carriage car, which out of the two rule of threes, that one's the slightly better one, but not by much. So, whew.
I just got to say, okay, so let's pretend that this joke that this guy set up a hamburger stand is somehow funny, even though it's not. If he's really stuck here, where did he get his supplies and how did he build a hamburger stand?
Yeah, and it's like, where are the people going to stop to eat at his stand? The parking and all that. I mean, we're overthinking it. Yes.
But it's not funny.
Oh, that we agree on. Yeah, 100%. It just didn't work.
Yeah, like, I know we're overthinking it, but there's a point where it doesn't make any sense. So how can it be a joke?
Exactly. So, okay, I'll go through a few positives of this. Look, I do like some of the look of this. I can see that McKimson's trying to do the UPA style in a lot of the ways, and some bits looks nice. Some nice animation.
Oh, yeah. You know what? If I can say one positive about this cartoon, if you just take screenshots of it, it looks really nice. It's just when it's in motion.
Bingo. The timing's off. Exactly. And the gags are just about all fall flat except for one or two that, one, I laughed unintentionally, and the other one I actually did laugh because of that carriage appearing out of nowhere, being faster than the latest hot rod car. And even then, it wasn't like I was in absolute hysterics or anything. And it's kind of weird that this cartoon seems to be worse than Hobby Horse Laughs, which is another Spot Gag short I didn't care too much about. So,
as somebody who has re-edited a lot of the Spot Gag cartoons, to see that they made one just a little bit underneath 15 years after they started them, and it being this bad, this is just honestly embarrassing. I know this is a great way to sell the new Collector's Choice volume. No wonder Warner Brothers is so mad at us.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, exactly. But we want to have everything released, good, bad, and ugly, of course.
It's a good thing this got released because preservation's important, but man, is it not a good cartoon.
No. This one gets, if I say 4 out of 10, I don't know, 4, 5 out of 10. I'm just trying to...
I feel like that's generous.
It is, but I think mostly it's just because of the look of the short. I do like the look of it, and I'm being generous in that way.
I guess there's nothing racist in it.
Well,
so.
there you go. There's another point there. But I'm also being generous too because at least I can see McKimson's trying something different here, because I don't know about you, but me doing all these shorts where he's trying to introduce all these different animal characters and they're not taking off at all, like he did all throughout the comic too.
Get that.
So at least he's trying something different, even if it doesn't work.
I just feel like maybe the McKimson's team left before this one was finished and they got the interns to finish it up or something.
Who knows? Who knows?
That information would be lost to time. I will recommend, though, that if you really want a good Spot Gag car cartoon, watch The Car Tomorrow.
Yep.
Tex Avery.
Yep, 1951, MGM, wonderful short, if you love your Spot Gags. Even I'll admit, sometimes Avery's Spot Gag cartoons may not be the best when he's at MGM, but they're still way better than this, I can tell you that. And definitely buy the Collector's Choice Volume 3 for the other shorts, okay? You can't have all AAA stuff on every disc. You gotta have a few duds like this one too, so. And I can see why S.C. McPeter and Matt Hunter didn't really want to do this one, so.
That's why you guys got stuck with me.
Yay! But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
Eh.
Get your hamburgers here.
Get your mustard and pickles here.
Damn you!